Rush Limbaugh asked a question last week, and it got me to thinking. Who was the first leftist? Rush suggested we ought to find him and string him up, but it's probably far too late for that. So, who was the first leftist? We could look at the question strictly historically. When was the term left as a political position even invented? If we start there, we begin in 1789, at the time of the French Revolution. Members of the National Assembly divided themselves according to their political loyalties to the left and right of the president. Perhaps that was the first time the actual ideological labels were used, but the worldview behind them began long before. It may have begun at the Tower of Babel, when Nimrod decided he was wiser than God and set out to bring the whole world together in one place in defiance of the Almighty. Ultimately, isn't that what the leftist philosophy is all about at its core? Wasn't that what the spirit of the French Revolution and those who followed in its footsteps were all about? Yet the more I think about it, the more I am persuaded the first lefty came well before the story of Genesis 10. I think it goes back to an earlier event described in Isaiah 14. There was an angel named Lucifer, the most beautiful and glorious creation of God. But he was proud, and he wasn't satisfied with his station in life. So he declared in his heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. In the sides of the north I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Indeed, I'm hardly the first person to suggest that Lucifer, or Satan, was the first lefty. In fact, one of the best-known lefties of the 20th century, one whose ideas may be reaching the pinnacle of their effectiveness today, said as much way back in 1972. That would be the infamous Saul Alinsky. In Rules for Radicals, the inspiration of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and many others, wrote the following, lest we forget, at least an over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical from all our legends, mythology and history. And who is to know where mythology leaves off and history begins, or which is which? The first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment, and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom, Lucifer. That is indeed what most lefties are after. They want their own kingdom. They don't want any part of God's kingdom. They seek to devise their own and rule over it. I don't agree with Alinsky about much, but about this he is right. Lucifer was the first radical, the first rebel, the first opponent of God's order. It may be too late to string up Alinsky. It may be too late to string up the agitators of the French Revolution. It may be too late to string up Karl Marx, or Joseph Stalin, or Adolf Hitler, or Lenin, or Mao. But Satan has been defeated. His days are numbered. His fate is sealed. So keep that in mind when you get depressed by the politics and cultural madness all around you.